Look out! It's time to pick Nebraska at Ohio State. Stay with us. We'll have some fun.
You are Locked On Nebraska, your daily Nebraska Cornhuskers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good morning, and thank you for making Locked On Nebraska your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started.
All right, welcome to a Friday show. Mitch Sherman of The Athletic, Connor Happer here from 1620 The Zone. Nebraska and Ohio State will meet again. Nebraska has won just once in this series ever, I believe. That was that 2011 game. Nebraska's
Levante David,
largest comeback in school history. Levante David steals the ball. Rex Burkhead goes off in the fourth quarter. And Luke Fickell's squad, the interim coach at the time, couldn't get the job done against Nebraska. Ever since then, it's been nothing pretty much but pain and sadness for Nebraska in this series. And Nebraska is once again undergoing an existential crisis heading into this game. And it's perfect time to play Ohio State, Mitch.
Seems to happen that way too often for Nebraska.
It really does. So we got over-unders. Let's pick these as we go into the game. Notably, last week I was horrible at this, and Mitch wasn't that bad. So there's something.
Let's review very quickly.
Why don't we?
Last week, you on the Nebraska props went an illustrious 1-7. You did correctly pick that Indiana would hit the over on our yardage, which was set at 399.5. Hoosiers went over that by about 100 yards. Otherwise, nothing really of note. Indiana alone covered the game over under of 50.5. So I got that one and a few others. For the season on Nebraska, I've got 27 picks correct. You've got 20 picks correct. We both missed against the spread last week. I'm 3-3-1 for the year. You're 1-5-1 nationally. And yeah, that's ugly. Nationally and in the Big Ten, you have a sizable lead on me. We both went 4-4, missed the bonus bet of Jeff Sims turnovers. You had to hit it on the nose. I said 1, you said 2. My 13-year-old son, Zach, wanted me to mention that he correctly picked that, saying 0. Jeff Sims committed 0 turnovers.
There you go, Zach.
Zach is a sports mastermind. He got that. Arizona State and Jeff Sims' start did lose at Cincinnati 24-14, but Jeff stayed out of the turnover column. For the season, on the also, I did correctly pick that Illinois would win straight up against Michigan and that Tennessee would win straight up as a dog against Bama. So I'm proud of those 2 picks, although I trail you by 5 games through 8 weeks in the overall picks.
All right, reset. Let's restack the deck here. Nebraska's looking to restack the deck after a very, very bad loss, and I'm trying to restack the deck as well. Let's do it. We'll start with Dylan Raiola passing attempts. Last week, he threw the ball 44 times, and he wasn't even the quarterback for the entirety of the game. This week, we'll put the number at 29.5. Mitch, 29.5, over under.
I think Marcus Satterfield, he wants to do it. He knows he needs to do it, but he's not going to do it. They're not going to keep him under 30 pass attempts. I'm going over.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm going to take the over on this one as well. As much as they can say it, I also think there's going to be some moments here where Nebraska feels like they want to go after it and try and win it. So there's just no way they keep that under. It's going over 30.
Okay, all right, easy
all
pick.
Right. Let's go to yards per play. Yards per play. 4.9 is going to be the number. Nebraska's season average is 5.5. Ohio State is allowing 4.4 yards per play. Not rushing yards per play, just yards per play.
Total yards per play. I'm saying under 4.9 for Nebraska.
Yeah, that seems... I think there's probably going to be some negative plays in this game. And Nebraska would be lucky to get an explosive player to under 4.9. It's not going to win you. I mean, I don't think Nebraska's going to win for the record, but if you average 4.9 against Nebraska, it's not going to do it. I'm under as well. Let's go to Ohio State yards per rushing attempt. 6 flat is the number. These are gaudy numbers, Mitch.
Yep, that's right around the Buckeyes average. They're at 5.9 for the season. And I'm going to say they go under. Ohio State goes under 6.0 yards per rush attempt on Saturday.
Yeah, okay, so help me math it out a little bit. Like, what are we looking at? That would be, let's just say
240 yards rushing on 40 attempts. There you go, 6.0.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I don't think they're going to have that good of a day. So let's go under that as well. Yeah.
All right. Too much agreement so far from us.
I know. Yeah. Touches for Heinrich Harburg in the game. 3.5. You want me to start here so it doesn't look like I'm copying off of you again?
That's fine. Yeah, this would be touches as in like it must be a rush attempt or an attempted pass.
Over.
Yeah, I'm also over on this. Okay, I will take the lead here in talking us through Nebraska player props. Leading receiver for the Huskers in this game at the shoe in terms of yardage. Who will lead Nebraska in yardage on Saturday?
Let's go back to I would love to see like a collage of me picking these week by week and just watching my brain twist around in pretzels. It's been difficult and maybe now even harder to predict than ever. But let's go back to Isaiah Nair, the big play threat on the edge.
Yeah. I am going with Jalen Lloyd. I am calling a big play. Nebraska's going to hit a big play. Not enough to get over 4.9 yards per play, but they're going to hit a big one to Jalen Lloyd that's going to be good enough for him to lead the Huskers in receiving yardage. Of note, last week we had a question of similar nature. We asked who would lead Nebraska in rushing, and we both said Dante Dowdell. It was Heinrich Harburg. Anyway, just
wasn't on the board. Wasn't on the board.
It wasn't. Will Nebraska make a field goal in this game?
No, they will not. I think much like last week against Indiana, you're going to be in a position where you're down a little bit, and you're just going to say, "Why would we kick a field goal here? Let's go," and hurt kickers' confidence, all that stuff. I'm going to say no field goals.
I'm also going to say no field goals for Nebraska in this game. Will Nebraska break even or win the turnover margin in this game? So anything at 0 or above for Nebraska is a yes.
No, but I don't think they get killed in it. So, I mean, it's either yes or no. It's no.
I also say no. Both teams are +2 for the season. Nebraska was +6 until the trip to Indiana. It's now +2. Ohio State also +2 through its first 6-7 games. Yes. Okay. Last one here: catches and touchdowns for Jeremiah Smith. You pick both numbers, the catches and the touchdowns, and if you get either one right, that's a win.
Okay.
So Jeremiah Smith is the Ohio State star freshman, future first round pick, future member of your fantasy football team.
Yeah. Let's go with 5 catches and 1 touchdown.
Okay. I'm saying 7 catches and 1 touchdown for Jeremiah Smith. He's going to be a load for Nebraska to handle.
Yes.
The toughest receiver to date, and I am including Travis Hunter in that category, in part because Nebraska has to deal with Emeka Ibuka on the other side for Ohio State, who's a great receiver, all Big Ten caliber receiver in his own right. And then you put Smith, the freshman, out there who's getting better week by week and really is a physical mismatch for just about any team, any set of DBs that he faces.
Yeah, so, he's as good. He's as good as anybody in the country, and that includes Ryan Williams at Alabama. Like he's just as good as that guy. He's
different kind of player, very much a different kind of player. Jeremiah Smith is like the comp that I heard to him in the NFL. Oh, what was it? I can't remember. My comp for him was like a kind of like a Deebo Samuel type. But I heard a comp. I don't know. This is bad. This is bad. Bad podcast here,
We'll
but
find it.
it was a big, fast, physical, established NFL receiver. I think that's what he's gonna be in about 3 years. So
Yeah.
Okay, Nebraska's a 25.5-point underdog at Ohio State. Saturday, 11 a.m. Fox, big noon kickoff. They're going to have Urban there for the 10-year reunion of the 2014 Ohio State National Championship team. They'll have Mark Ingram, Matt Leinart, Rob Stone. Reggie Bush is not on big noon kickoff. I was notified today after I made that mistake last podcast. So Reggie will not be there, but all of the rest of the Fox crew, all of the Fox crew will be. So your score, and will Nebraska cover, Connor?
Nebraska will lose by the final score of 36-14, and they will cover the 25.5.
I like it. I like your confidence. I like that you have an opportunity to catch up, get closer to me.
Keep in mind, I'm so bad at this. I'm 1-5 picking Nebraska against the spread, so not good.
45-14, Ohio State is my score. Really very similar to your score. I just have the Buckeyes getting 9 additional points in this one, so that is not a Nebraska cover as I have it. All right. It's an interesting week in the Big Ten. We're going to stop talking about Nebraska and Ohio State and start talking about some things that are a little more enjoyable for Nebraska fans to hear, like what's going on around the league. There's a late night game tonight. Oh, yeah. We'll start off with that after the break.
All right, a couple of messages for you here. Let's start with ZBiotics. ZBiotics Pre Alcohol Probiotic Drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking alcohol. When you drink, remember, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. I sound like a scientist right now. This is going to make you feel like a scientist. Just remember to make ZBiotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and then you'll feel your best tomorrow. So here's how you use it. You drink ZBiotics at the start of the night. Then you drink responsibly as you would. Then you pace yourself, and then you hydrate. Get that good night of sleep, and enjoy the next day as if none of it ever happened. Wake up feeling refreshed and ready to take on the day. Head to zbiotics.com/lockedoncollege to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use that code lockedoncollege at checkout. ZBiotics backed with 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com. Use the code lockedoncollege at checkout for 15% off.
And another message from a show sponsor here. This one, PrizePicks. It is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with more than 5 million active users. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. All you do is pick more or less on a 2 to 6 player stat projection, and you watch the winnings roll in. Right now, you can win 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct selections. PrizePicks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy. So your play is in play. Your stay is in play, even if one of your players gets injured. Here's how it works. Pick Tyreek Hill to go over 90 yards or Dak Prescott to go under 263. You try Josh Allen for less than 240, CeeDee Lamb for more than 96. Set your lineup, sit back, count your winnings. That's it. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use the code LockedOnCollege to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's LockedOnCollege on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to get that $50 bonus bet. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks. Run your game.
All right, Connor, Mitch, back with you. Big Ten this weekend. There's several big games. You look around the slate in the conference, and you look at all the times and the networks, and you're like, man, this is kind of why this is what the Big Ten, this is what Tony Petitti had in mind when he envisioned this gigantic Conference. A lot of stakes all over the board, and we begin tonight. This will be following game 1 of the World Series.
What if it goes 15 innings?
It probably starting on FS1 or something like that.
Yeah.
But we got a New York LA thing going on Fox from about 7 o'clock until about 1 o'clock in the morning Central Time. Rutgers and USC. USC is a 13.5-point favorite out in LA. This game will start around 10 o'clock Central Time. That game will be broadcast, like I said, on Fox.
And all of this is happening in LA. So they're going to be playing at Dodger Stadium and then revving things up. I wonder if anybody's going to go to both of these things. I'm sure someone has to do it.
You'd have to probably ride a bike or run or something.
Yeah, you don't want to take that traffic out of Chavez Ravine and try to get down to the Coliseum, but they're really not that far apart from each other. So I think it's feasible at least to make it to parts of both of these games. It's going to be fascinating. I'm going to be in the Eastern Time Zone in Columbus, Ohio, and needing to get up fairly early to get down to the campus around Ohio Stadium.
You might see kickoff, maybe.
Yeah, I might not see any. I might see. You're right. I might see kickoff of the Rutgers USC game.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I might see. It's imagine being a Rutgers fan and being like, okay, 11 o'clock. We gotta be ready. This is 10 o'clock Central Time on Fox. Rutgers is 13.5-point underdog.
I just think there's probably too much offense here for USC, but both these teams are reeling right now. This is an important game for both teams. The number maybe seems a little big to me, to be honest. But I just think like it's a math game. USC's got too much offense and Rutgers doesn't have enough of it.
Rutgers is going to be asleep. Both of these teams are reeling a bit of late. Rutgers is 4-3, USC's 3-4. I'm going to take Rutgers. I'm going to do it. Taking Rutgers.
Right. Okay. You're going East Coast. I'm going West Coast. Let's go to
Dodgers and then Rutgers.
Let's go to Bloomington. Washington is at Indiana. This will be the site of College Game Day this weekend, 11 a.m. The game will be on the Big Ten Network. Has that ever happened, by the way? The College Game Day game shows up to a game that shows up on the Big Ten Network just moments later? I don't think so.
Not that I can remember. Not that I can recall. Those are generally like national network games, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the guest picker?
Oh, are they going to bring back John Cougar Mellencamp? I don't know.
That would be. I'd put that one at like 2-1. Can they get Mark Cuban? Can they do that?
They probably have a better chance than Big Noon. I'd say. I don't know.
Indiana's going with his backup quarterback. Wouldn't it be something? How would Nebraska fans feel if Washington won this game?
Not good.
I'm taking Indiana. Indiana laying the points, laying the 6.5. Hoosiers are going to win by more than a touchdown.
I think this game is competitive. I think this is the game where Indiana is challenged. With that being said, I just like the number. It's 6.5, so I get the clear touchdown. So
yeah.
I'll take it. Indiana is the drive finisher. Give me Indiana by at least 7. Let's go to 8-0 and barreling toward the playoff. Illinois is hot right now, and they are at Oregon. Oregon is a 21.5-point favorite. This is the 2:30 CBS game in Eugene, Saturday afternoon.
This is a sneaky good game. Illinois really coming off a win against Michigan at home. Now you go on the road to Oregon, which had an extra day of rest after the Friday night game at Purdue, which was kind of a game, kind of a practice. Illinois 6-1, Oregon 7-0, number 1 in the country. I like Illinois. I like Illinois to stay within 20 points. I'm going to say, give me the Illini. They will not win, but Illinois to cover the spread.
I do too. I mean, Illinois, what they did last week against Michigan's defense is pretty impressive. Like that. We talk about Big Ten football, and oftentimes we talk about the defenses and stuff like that. Like Illinois' offense is impressive. They have been really good this year.
Man.
Yeah, Nebraska's defense can attest to that. Unless I'm missing something, I just feel like that number is way too big. I don't know. Would you be shocked if Indiana won?
Illinois?
Yeah,
I would be
Illinois. Yeah.
I would be shocked. I would be shocked if Illinois won. I don't think they can go into if it was in Champaign. Sure, I don't think they can go into Outson and win. No.
I wouldn't be shocked. It would be. Do
you want to call it?
No, I will not be calling it, but I will take Illinois to cover. And we finish in the Big Ten with Penn State. Been an interesting week for them. 6.5-point favorites on the road at Wisconsin, who's done nothing but crush their competition now for the last 3 weeks against subpar competition. You got Purdue, Rutgers, and Northwestern over the last 3, but they feel good about themselves. This is the 6:30 NBC game Saturday night.
How about Wisconsin being 5-2, Nebraska being 5-2, Colorado being 5-2? Which one of those teams feels worst about itself, do you think?
Nebraska.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yep.
I am going to take the Badgers, not to win, but to lose a close game. Or I don't even need to specify, but I'm not going to call the win. Wisconsin will cover the 6.5.
Yeah, I kind of like that too. Penn State, it's a pretty complete team. Like, don't get me wrong. But man, Wisconsin's got Alabama at home this year. They got Penn State at home this year, and they got Oregon at home coming up in a couple weeks. I mean, what a home slate for them and their fans.
This is crazy.
This is great. This is really cool, and I think there's a chance that Wisconsin could win the game outright. Just I won't call it, but there's a chance. Give me the Badgers.
Okay, you can go on that limb if you want.
I'm too scared.
Okay. Nothing would happen if you miss it.
You're right.
All right, when we come back, big game in New York, the mecca of college football, right? That's coming up on Saturday. We'll talk about it after the break. All right, let's talk about the FanDuel Sportsbook. You can get in on the action with FanDuel with a big return if you'd like. It's America's #1 sportsbook after all. When you get the hunch in the middle of the game, you could check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more right there on that same page where you place your bets. So whether it's on the app or at FanDuel.com, you can get started there. And if you're a new customer, get this thing rolling with a little bit of good fortune. A $5 bet guaranteed to turn you into $200 in bonus bets. Once again, place that first $5 bet and $200 in bonus bets is coming your way. Head to FanDuel.com right now. What are you waiting for? Huge slate this weekend in football. FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And I would like to tell you about Home Field, a premier sponsor of the Locked On Nebraska podcast. It is the exclusive apparel provider of the Locked On Nebraska podcast. We love the Home Field gear. You will love it too. What an exciting time here as we get late into the college football season. Home Field is here to make your experience supporting your team more enjoyable. It is a premium collegiate apparel brand based out of Indianapolis. You need a hoodie. November's around the corner. They specialize in incredibly comfortable, officially licensed apparel with vintage designs. Home Field is gearing up fans for this entire season. What you'll want to do is get your hands on a football box because it contains 3 never-before-seen items, curated so fans will have gear to wear all through the season and after the season. You can upgrade if you'd like to a platinum VIP box. That's going to get you extra stuff like a hat, a ringer, a koozie. Check it all out. Visit the Home Field website, homefieldapparel.com. Remember, use the code GBR24, which gets you 15% off, an additional 15% off at checkout. Thanks for supporting us at the Locked On Nebraska pod by supporting Home Field. Check all of the Nebraska apparel out, along with special items, at homefieldapparel.com. Okay, welcome back on this Friday in late November. Nebraska at Ohio State, 11 o'clock a.m. You have to specify a.m. this week because there's an 11 p.m. game on the East Coast tonight. The game's not on the East Coast, but some fans might be watching it there. Nebraska at Ohio State at the Horseshoe, 11 on Saturday. Interesting week in college football is already underway. On Wednesday night, Kennesaw State beat Liberty. Liberty was one of the inside teams with an inside track to the college football playoff in that group of 5 spot. No longer. Kennesaw State earns its first FBS win. This was the lowest ranked team in terms of yards per play, buzz stat of the week. And I don't even know what Kennesaw State is, what they're, the Eagles, or I have no idea. And they took, Is it the Owls? There's lots of Owls. I don't think Kennesaw State's the Owls, but I don't know. They beat Liberty. Maybe it's a sign, Connor, that there's a crazy week.
How dare you? It's an owl.
It's an owl?
It's an owl.
Okay.
Scrappy the Owl is their mascot.
Great job. That was fantastic that you knew that. Maybe it's just going to be a wild week of college football ahead of us. And one of those games that would definitely qualify to have some potential for wild nature is number 12, Notre Dame, minus 14 points versus number 24, Navy, unbeaten Navy, one loss Notre Dame. This game is not in New York, as I said before the break. It's in New Jersey at the home of the New York Jets and the New York Giants, MetLife Stadium, 11 o'clock a.m. ABC Saturday.
I love it. It's Navy is, if a couple things break right for them, might need to take a Boise loss or something like that. Navy could crash the party conceivably, which is fantastic. Army Navy at the end of the year is going to be awesome this year, the way we're trending right now. I don't know if, once again, I feel like I get a little bit worried when I feel too confident in a number that I see. How is this not Navy? How is the pick not Navy here? Give me Navy plus 14, and I think that I will pick them to win the game. Navy.
You're going to pick them to win the game. You're picking them to win the game. He's picking them to win the game.
I'm not scared.
I think Notre Dame wins the game. Navy covers. If Navy's a 14-point underdog, that's basically like making another team a 24-point underdog because Navy is going to sit on the ball. They're going to run the option. They're going to run the play clock down, especially against a team like Notre Dame. And it's hard to beat Navy by 14 points for anyone, especially when Navy's 7-0. Army and Navy could play twice, is my understanding, in like a 3-week stretch because they're in the American Conference and could play in the championship there, and then again in the Army-Navy game. So I have no idea how that will work if the college football playoff, if the winner of that game is going to get the spot, and it comes several days after the selection. Anyway, okay. Awesome. Yeah, game number 2 on our national slate is number 21, Missouri, at number 15, Alabama. The Crimson Tide, coming off that loss against Tennessee, are a 16.5-point favorite at home, 2:30 p.m. on ABC.
Yeah, so Missouri has already laid an egg in a spot in a ranked game earlier in the year against Texas A&M.
Yep.
And so you probably just don't feel good about them. Alabama is a team that you can't feel good about right now with that, obviously, the loss to Vanderbilt and then the loss to Tennessee this past week. So I don't know that I feel great about either team here, but I will take Missouri to cover the 16.5 on the road. It seems a little daunting, but I'll take Missouri there.
A lot of games here, Missouri, Navy, Illinois, where these road dogs just have big numbers, and both of us are liking the road dogs here. I also have Mizzou. LSU at Texas A&M. This is Saturday night. Oh, I skipped a game, but we'll get back to it. LSU at Texas A&M, number 8 LSU at number 14 Texas A&M. Aggies are a 1.5-point favorite at home. A couple of one-loss teams, maybe a playoff eliminator if you want to dig down deep and expect that these teams are probably both going to lose one more game. 6:30 p.m. ABC at Kyle Field.
Texas A&M is going blackout for this.
That'll be cool.
I wonder if that was at the call of the athletic director. If I wonder, like Trev does, there's no way Trev likes blackouts, right?
He doesn't like that.
Yeah,
no,
he likes regular jerseys with regular stuff and tradition and all that. I don't know who made this call, or is Trev evolving right before our eyes? It's gonna be wild in there. LSU's going with the icy all white look as well. Give me the Aggies to cover the 1.5 at home.
Yeah, I also have that. Trev's Aggies are having a good week. The volleyball Aggies knocked off 2-time defending national champ Texas at in Austin on Wednesday night. So maybe they can continue that good fortune and beat LSU. We'll see. And we are also going to pick, backing up here just a second, number 5 Texas. It's an SEC heavy week in the national games. Is an 18.5-point favorite coming off that loss at home against Georgia. Now going on the road at number 25 Vanderbilt, 3:15 SEC Network.
It's hard to trust. I think Texas is pretty good. I don't know that they're I don't know that they're that good. I mean, that's quite the respectful number to be given on the road for a team who's already beat Alabama. You could say fluke or whatever. Vanderbilt will bring the crowd, they'll bring the energy. Am I crazy for taking Vandy to cover the 18.5 at home? I like it.
I think it's a good pick. I'm taking Texas. I think Texas is going to go in mad, and they're going to win by somewhere in the 20s. Vanderbilt is an interesting team in that it played Ball State last week, won by 10, lost earlier this year to Georgia State, and then you see a 3-point loss to Mizzou, a 5-point win against Alabama, and then a touchdown 7-point win against Kentucky. So they're hot and cold, and I got them cold this week. So
yeah.
All right, we have a bonus bet this week, and it involves Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a 20.5-point underdog, amazingly, at number 18 Ole Miss. The Sooners have scored 12 points total in their previous 2 games, losses against Texas and South Carolina. Coach Brent Venables this week fired offensive coordinator Seth Luttrell, promoted Joe John Finley to the play caller. They reinstituted Jackson Arnold, their young quarterback. He had been benched by Luttrell or by Venables, and he's back. The Sooners offense ranks 128th nationally in yards per game. That is ahead of Northwestern and Florida State, and that's it among Power 4 programs. Ole Miss's defense is allowing 4.06 yards per play, 3rd nationally. So the question here in the bonus bet, you must get within 3 points to correctly win the bet. How many points will the Sooners score at Ole Miss?
7.
Okay. You have little faith in Oklahoma.
7. I feel like I love 7. 7. Yeah. I get 10 in there too if I'm within 3. You do. 4 doesn't give me much, but I'll take 7.
Yeah. See, I was thinking more like, I want to hit it on both sides. So I said 13. They can get 10. They can get up to 16. So 13 for Oklahoma. Zach, the mastermind, weighs in. We were talking about this at dinner tonight. He says 22. So
wow.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. What's he know that we don't? What's he cooking over there?
He knows a lot that we don't. I'll tell you that. Playing college football 25. I still haven't got it for him though. We talked about this months ago about how I was holding out and not going to get him the gaming system. He's been over at friend's house in recent weeks and playing the game, so he's telling me all about it and various things about the game, player ratings, and all of that. And but he's been amazingly good at not bugging me or asking for it. So I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen here.
You're going to have to
in the holiday season.
By the way, according to our friends from the FanDuel Sportsbook, Oklahoma's team total is 14.5.
Ooh, okay, I came close there. I didn't look at that.
Yeah. The under has the juice as well. So your number looks about prime for what the betting gods say.
Okay. The next time we talk to you on the show, we will be reacting to Nebraska-Ohio State. So stay with us. Look for a show sometime on the weekend after Nebraska ventures out to Columbus, Ohio. Huskers will be leaving today on Friday and flying back on Saturday afternoon. So thank you for making Locked On Nebraska your first listen today. Now we implore you to go check out the Locked On College Football podcast. It's got everything you need to get through week 9 of an exciting college football season. You can find the link to the Locked On College Football podcast in the description of this show, so you don't need to search. All of it is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.